Hello there guys and welcome to Monday's live stream. I am JWF1 and we are here for the pre-season test ahead of IFMC GP3. A new season is about to start and their season kickstarts next weekend, in fact, at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, and we are waiting to get underway here for pre-season testing. And well, as you can see, we're here in Magny Cours yet again, our favourite place for feeder series pre-season testing, and a bright and sunny day awaits us here at Magny Cours. If you didn't see 2 hours ago, I uploaded the launch video for the liveries for season number 4, and if you haven't checked that out, I strongly suggest that you do, very quickly indeed, and then maybe come back partly in the middle of this session anyway, or at the beginning of the session I should say. But anyway, before we start then guys, let's quickly have a look at the teams and drivers for this season's championship. So as you can see, 11 teams in total, some new teams, some familiar ones as well, and a team that's made a U-turn since the first ever season of this. So, starting off then with Pennzoil Grand Prix, who have Daniel Kvyat and Jensen Button. Dacia Eldorado Jr., formerly known as Vegeta Racing, have Will Power and Joseph Newgarden. Horizon Motorsport have Michael Alation and Kyle Kaiser. Shadow Racing have Felipe Nasr and Anthony Davidson. AYP Racing have Antonio Fuoco and Santina Ferrucci. Willows Racing have Alexander Rossi and Jack Aitken. At Kenny Star Motorsport, formerly known as Pat for Rebellion Racing, they have Sebastian Buemi and Nick Keifeld. At Suomi Racing, the returning Suomi Racing, who are formerly known as Cold North Racing, have Nico Kari and Eero Vainio. At American Engineering, replacing Status Monster, the new team run by Alan Cavey will be Lucas Di Grassi and Daniel Apt. Auto Jamaica, who were initially meant to be in the series and the first ever championship of this, but pulled out at the last minute, but are back for Season 4, have Marco Andretti and Ferdinand Hasberg. And finally, at KR Racing, we have Robert Kubica and Antoine Hubert. So they are the drivers and teams for this season's IFMC GP3 Championship. And of course, last season it was won by Felix Rosenqvist after he dominated. We're hoping that dominance doesn't happen this season. Hopefully we'll be in for a very close championship. But bright and sunny is mentioned here in Magny Cours. So without further ado, let's get to the pre-season test. So here we are then in the pit lane. The TV graphics return, and it has to be, and I've chosen F1 graphics for this one rather than having red ones, of course, because it got quite complicated really with the red ones, trying to mix it in with the bits of red that they have on the F1 graphics. So I've just reverted it back to F1 graphics for the TV graphics. But anyway, we're at the end of the pit lane with Ferdinand Hasberg, I believe this is. So we will wait, and we have some activity in the pit lane in the form of Eero Vainio. So Eero Vainio is the first man out on track for IFMC GP3, driving the returning Suomi Racing, formerly known as Cold North Racing, back in the first ever championship when they had Kimi Räikkönen and I think in fact Nico Kari on board as well. And so that's that then, and Nico Kari in fact returning to IFMC GP3 this season. And so as you can see, Vainio is out on track. Also on track is Marco Andretti for Auto Jamaica, finally making it on the grid after pulling out last minute at the first ever championship. Will Power out on track in the Eldorado Jr. Also out there is Ferdinand Hasberg in the Auto Jamaica. Alexander Rossi out there for Willows Racing. We also have Joseph Newgarden out there as well. Nico Kari out on track for Suomi Racing. Anthony Davidson out on track. The only team running alcohol sponsors, they've had to censor them here because France has strict laws with alcohol sponsorship. Antoine Hubert out on track for KR Racing, as is Jensen Button, the former Orange Racing driver, now in GP3. Also joined alongside another former IFMC driver who drove for EMR last season. I wonder if he's out on track. We'll see if he is out there. But also on track we have Antonio Fuoco in the AYP Racing car. Michael Alation out on track, as is Jack Aitken, he's out there, as is Sebastian Buemi looking for redemption with his new team Kenny Star Motorsport. And these are all the guys out on track. Jensen's team, and of course Daniel Kvyat, who you drove for EMR last season but got dropped in favour of Nico Hulkenberg this season. As Vainio sets a first sector time now then on the board as he just goes through the right-hander. Vainio going down the hill towards the chicane on the track, the first chicane. And Vainio Of course, familiar with doing pre-season testing for Magny Cours earlier in the season, but now having a full-time drive in GP3 and hoping to make the most of it if he can. As Vinio now then just goes through these section of corners now then, as he will now go up towards the tricky second chicane now then, flicking the car through the right and left-hander. And now a session, of course, here in Magny Cours, so quite a long one, so we should be finishing just after 5 o'clock here at in the UK, of course, 5 o'clock British summer time. As now up towards the final corner then goes Eero Vinio, and he's going to be the one setting the benchmark of time for everybody to beat. What is the time going to be then for Vinio? And it is a 1:17.555. Marco Andretti crosses the line and goes fastest with a 1:17.217. Power slots into second, 2/10 back. Hasberg goes 200 quicker than his teammate Marco Andretti, so Hasberg goes to the top. Alexander Rossi crosses the line to go second, so he splits the two Auto Jamaica cars. Joseph Newgarden now goes fastest. Nico Kari slots into fifth with that lap, as here comes Anthony Davidson in the Shadow Racing car. And let's see what he's able to do then. Shadow retaining the driver lineup, as have AYP Racing, and he slots into 8th for that lap, so P8 for Anthony Davidson. Antoine Hubert in the new KR Racing car crosses the line to slot into 6th place with that lap. Jenson Button in the Pennzoil Grand Prix car. Let's see what Jenson is able to do as he just negotiates around the final corner. Also, I've managed to get these cars to have numbers as well, so you should see cars with numbers. Button goes fastest with 1/10 of a second. Button goes to the top. Fuoco goes to 6th with that lap. Michael Elation crosses the line, slots to 9th. Jack Aitken crosses the line, and he goes fastest by 2/10 of a second. Aitken now goes to the top. Sebastian Buemi, what can he manage? He crosses the line, and he goes fastest by 2/10 of a second. Buemi now going to the top of the timing sheets. Anybody else doing another lap? Yes, Marco. No, not Marco. Will Power doing another lap, as he's currently in so far in 12th place, 8/10 back from current the current man who's currently at the top, Sebastian Buemi in the Kenny Star Motorsport car. Will Power now then across the line he will go, and he goes up to 10th for that lap, so an improvement for him. Hasberg stays in 5th, no improvement for the Austrian. As we now look at Joseph Newgarden in the Eldorado, so it's going to be an improvement for the American. Across the line he will go, and he stays in 4th position. Anybody else on track? Doesn't appear like it. People again running quite tight with fuel, it must be said. But at the moment, after these sets of cars, with 5 minutes of the session, it's Buemi top, Aitken second, Button third, Newgarden fourth, Hasberg fifth, Rossi sixth, Andretti 7th, Fuoco 8th, Kari 9th, Power 10th, Hubert 11th, Elation 12th, Vinio 13th, and Davidson in 14th position. So that's currently how the leaderboard currently stands here in Magny Cours. And of course, Magny Cours doesn't really give a true reflection of the pace of these cars. Of course, we've seen in Bahrain we had a different sort of pecking order for GP2 compared to the Magny Cours pre-season test, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the same sort of scenario we get with these GP3 guys when they get to Spain next weekend. As now Power just going around the right-hander now then, as he just goes out of the corner. The team formerly known as Vegeta Racing, but they've rebranded as Eldorado Junior, but they've called themselves Dacia Eldorado Junior for this season due to tying up a sponsorship with Dacia during the season and having him as a main title sponsor for their GP3 team. As you can see there, into the pits there went Will Power. And of course, the first time the GP3 guys will be running Bridgestones for this season after spending 2 seasons now with Goodyear, but Bridgestone now the sole tyre supplier, and Bridgestone now in IFMC GP3 along with IFMC GP2 as well, and along with the top class. Heifeld now out on track for Kenny Star Motorsport. He's back in the series after spending a season on the sidelines. Last time he was here was in the first ever season when he was part of the now defunct Republic of Ireland racing team ran by James. In fact, I forgot his last name now. It's been a while. But his name was James from Ireland. It was an Irish team because that's why it was called Republic of Ireland Racing. Kyle Kaiser out on track, making his debut in IFMC GP3. Felipe Nasr back after the first season in GP3 last season with Shadow. He stayed at the team for another season. Daniel Kvyat, the former EMR driver, is out on track for Pennzoil Grand Prix. His teammate currently in 3rd place at the moment. Robert Kubica back after a season out from GP3. Last time we saw him was in a Mars Grand Prix car. And but Mars Grand Prix now in the top class. So Robert Kubica out on track, as is Daniel Abt. It's been a while since we've seen Daniel Abt in an IFMC situation, but he's back, and it's the first time he'll make his debut in GP3. Last time we saw him was back in Season 1 in IFMC GP2 when he was part of the now defunct Yorkshire Motorsport team. So Abt back with the new American engineering team ran by Alan Cavier. A late entry replacing Status Monster after Status sold Monster Grand Prix in the top class of Daniel Ricciardo and pulled out of GP3. So American engineering stepped in, ran by Alan Cavier, to replace that slot. Santino Ferrucci out on track for AYP Racing, as is Marco Andretti. He's out there for Auto Jamaica. Antoine Hubert, Lucas Di Grassi, Michael Alation, and Jack Aitken, and of course Anthony Davidson are all out on track. As you can see, a few guys down in the first sector compared to Buemi. Heifeld now then, his teammate currently at the top of the timing sheets by 2/10 ahead of Jack Aitken. Heifeld looking to try and see if he can slot himself in there if he can. As we ride on board now then with Nick Heifeld, and he is 2/10 down in the second sector that time around, as he now approaches a tricky chicane. Through the right and left-hander he will go, as he will now approach the right-hander. Around the corner he goes now then, using as much curve on the outside as possible. Heifeld now then approaching the final chicane, and let's see what he is able to do then. Up towards the final corner we go, and onto the pit straight goes Nick Heifeld, and let's see what he's able to do. Across the line he will go, and he goes up to third with that lap, so it's P3 for Nick Heifeld. Kyle Kaiser we ride on board with in the Horizon Motorsport car. Kaiser crosses the line, goes 15th with that lap. Felipe Nasr crosses the line, let's see what he can manage, and he goes to 13th. Daniel Kvyat only 15th with that lap. Robert Kubica, what can he manage in the KR Racing car? He slots to third with that lap, so Kubica up to third place. Vinio starting a lap. Daniel Abt across the line he will go, and he slots to only 19th with that lap. Santino Ferrucci we're now riding on board with in the AYP Racing car, as he just goes out of the final corner. Ferrucci now then across the line he will go, and he goes to 10th with that lap, so he gets himself into the top 10, outpacing teammate Antonio Fuoco. Marco Andretti now then across the line he will go, and what is he able to do? He stays where he is at the moment, which is P9, as here comes Antoine Hubert in the KR Racing car as he just goes out of the final corner. Hubert now then across the line he will go, and he goes up to 12th with that lap then, so 12th place for Antoine Hubert. Here comes Lucas Di Grassi with his new team after spending a season with Holy Trinity Racing, who are now in GP2. Di Grassi crosses the line to go 6th fastest with that lap, so up to 6th goes Lucas Di Grassi. Michael Alation crosses the line and goes to 8th. Jack Aitken doesn't improve and stays in 2nd place at this stage, as here comes Anthony Davidson in the Shadow Racing car. He just goes around the final corner and onto the pit straight will go Davidson. And let's see what he's able to achieve. He improves, but only up to 21st position. Kyle Kaiser doesn't improve. He stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 20. As Kvyat improves, but stays in 18th place, so maybe more to come from the Russian. As Eero Vinio now then heads down the pit straight. What is Vinio able to do on this lap now then? He crosses the line and stays in 19th for the moment. His teammate up in 15th at this stage. Anybody else on a lap? It doesn't appear like it. So after over 10 minutes of action, here is what the whole pack looks like at this stage. We've still got a long way to go. Improvements could come as the track starts to rub it in. It's Sebastian Buemi at the top with Jack Aitken 2nd, Robert Kubica 3rd, Nick Heifeld 4th, Jenson Button 5th, with Lucas Di Grassi 6th, and then it is Joseph Newgarden 7th, Michael Alation 8th, Ferdinand Hasberg 9th, Alexander Rossi 10th, with Marco Andretti 11th, and then it is Santino Ferrucci 12th, Antonio Fuoco 13th, Antoine Hubert 14th, with Nico Curry 15th, Will Power 16th, Felipe Nasr in 17th, with Daniel Kvyat 18th, Eero Vinio 19th, and then it is Kyle Kaiser in 20th, Anthony Davidson 21st, and Daniel Abt in 22nd position. So that's how the leaderboard currently stands at this stage. Vinio expected to go back into the pits, as we have Antonio Fuoco, currently 13th at the moment, out on track in the AYP Racing car, the feeder series team to AMP Racing. And so far AMP have had a very tricky season in the top class at the moment, and but still concentrating on their other feeder series team as well, especially with their two young drivers in that team, Antonio Fuoco and Santino Ferrucci. And of course, one of the other young drivers, Mick Schumacher, is given a second chance in GP2 and could have had a very strong start after having a good qualifying session in Bahrain last weekend. But unfortunately for him, he had problems during the race, and as a result, he scored no points in the end. It was disappointing for Mick because he was looking strong during that weekend, but it all came to nothing in the end. For Watko then, starts his next flying lap now then in the AYP racing car, as he just goes through turn 3 now in the fast turn 3 section. Very easy to understeer the car onto the gravel. And let's see what Fawocko's first sector is like. Fawocko managing to get a victory last season, 900s down of Buemi in the first sector. Officially at the moment, he's 7/10 off Buemi. So if he's able to keep that momentum into the second sector, we could be looking at an improvement for the young Italian, as he now just goes downhill towards the chicane. And let's see what Fawocko is able to do now then, as he will now approach the left-hander. Through the left goes Fawocko now then, going out of the corner, flicking the car in, and let's see what his second sector is like. He's 4/10 down in the second sector, so he might be on for an improvement. It just depends how he hooks up the last sector. And he now goes up towards the right-hander. And let's see what Fawocko is able to do on this lap now then, as he heads down towards the chicane. So through the right, left, and then up towards the right-hander again will go Antonio Fawocko. Down the straight he will go then, and across the line goes Antonio Fawocko, and he does not improve. He stays where he is for the moment, which is P number 13. Buemi about to start a lap, the man that's currently at the top. Here comes Will Power then in the Dacia Eldorado Junior, as Will Power now then goes up towards the final corner, and onto the pit straight we will go, and Power will now cross the line, and he does not improve. Power staying where he is at this stage. Button now then going around the right-hander, and as they now go through towards the section of corners, Button now then, who's currently in 5th place, sorry, not 15th, just going out of the final corner. And let's see what Jenson Button is able to do. Across the line he will go, and no improvement for him. He stays in 5th place for the moment. Hasberg goes up to 2nd, so an improvement for the Austrian. Hasberg up into 2nd place with that lap. Robert Kubica about to start a lap. Now we look at Joseph Newgarden in the Eldorado, as he just goes out of the final corner, and let's see what Newgarden is able to do. Across the line goes the young American, and he goes up to 2nd with that lap. 600s off Buemi. Newgarden up into P2. Kari goes up to 14th, so an improvement for the young Finn. Ferrucci starting a lap. Here comes Alexander Rossi in the Willows racing cars. He heads down the pit straight. His teammates up in 4th at the moment. Rossi looking to improve if he can, which he doesn't. He stays in the cusp of the top 10 at the moment in 10th. App starting a lap, as is Kyle Kaiser. As now we look at the man who's currently at the top, Sebastian Buemi, as he just goes through the chicane. And let's see what Buemi is able to do on this lap. Is he able to improve on a 1 minute 16.543 as he heads down the pit straight? Buemi now then across the line he will go, and no he doesn't. He stays on a 1 minute 16.543 at this stage. His teammate Nick Heifeld, what can he manage? Heifeld crosses the line, stays in 6th place for the moment. Will Power stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 16. Power appearing to struggle at the moment in this testing session, and maybe not pushing as hard at the moment at this stage. Nazar then out of the final corners, he heads down the pit straight, and Nazar crosses the line, and he goes up to 14th, so Nazar up to P14 with that lap. As here comes Robert Kubica, who's currently in 5th place at the moment in the KR racing car, and let's see what Kubica is able to do then. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight will go the Polish driver, and Kubica crosses the line, and he improves but stays in 5th place at the moment, only cutting the gap down between himself and Jack Aitken at this stage. Nico Kari now then across the line he will go, and he stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 15. Ferrucci meantime goes up to 10th, so he gets up into the top 10. Santino Ferrucci up into 10th place. Daniel Abt crosses the line, and he goes up to 14th, so an improvement there for the German, as now Daniel, as we mentioned there, Kyle Kaiser improved but stayed in 20th. He's doing another flying lap according to the timing screen. Well, his indication there, he is doing another lap. As now he just goes down the back straight towards the hairpin as the sparks come off the back of his Horizon car. 1/10 down in the first sector. Kaiser currently down in 20th, way off the pace of teammate Elation, who's up in 9th place at the moment in this preseason test. Running on board with the rookie Kyle Kaiser, as he heads down the hill towards the chicane, flicking the car in through the right and left-hander now then, as he will approach the left-hander on the track. And through he will go then, Kyle Kaiser, flicking the car out the corner now then. Let's see what his second sector is like. And he's 7 times down in the second sector, way off the pace at the moment, and doesn't look like the young American is going to be on for an improvement at this stage. Kyle Kaiser now then in through the right-hander. Kaiser now then out the corner, using as much curb on the outside as possible before approaching the final chicane. And let's see what Kyle Kaiser is able to do then. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight goes the young American. Let's see if he's able to improve. Anyway, Kaiser crosses the line and he doesn't. He stays in 20th place at this stage as Marco Andretti and Lucas Di Grassi, as a few cars come out onto the track, including Marco Andretti, Lucas Di Grassi, Antonio Hubert, Anthony Davidson, Jack Aitken, Eero Vainio, Antonio Fuoco, Michele Aleshin, Alexander Rossi, as Andretti there has just started a lap. Buemi and Hasberg and Power and Button are all expected to do flying laps. Let's go back to Andretti, who is being held up now by Michele Aleshin, so his lap has definitely gone down the toilet as we ride on board with Marco. Tries to look to the right, and unfortunately for him, Aleshin looks to have covered him off as he now tries to go for a move into the hairpin, and it appears that Aleshin doesn't care. It's even holding up Di Grassi, who was 300 down in the first sector, but now that's going to get compromised as a result because he's now caught up to this queue, which Michele Aleshin has started, because Michele is preparing to start his next flying lap on the track as he goes through the left-hander. Out of the corner we go, and let's see what Marco's second sector is going to curtail. 2 seconds down and not looking on for an improvement. So as you may have noticed with the IFMC GP3 logo, we've slightly changed it again. We've made it match up to how it looks in IFMC GP2. So that's why it probably looks a little bit familiar to you. It looks a little bit more paler white on the logo, but apart from that, it is still IFMC GP3. We just changed the logo a little bit, and that will be up on the Season 4 with Kaya when I get around to doing that, as Andretti just goes out of the final corner and across the line he will go, and he stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 12, and Di Grassi stays where he is, which is P8. At this stage, Ferdinand Hasberg about to start a lap, as is Will Power and Sebastian Buemi. Here is Antoine Hubert now then, who's just going around the left-hander and coming up towards the end of the second sector. Let's see what Hubert is able to do. He's 4 times down in the second sector, and Hubert could be on for an improvement. Again, all depends on how he hooks up the last sector now then, as he will approach the right-hander. And Hubert now then out the corner up towards the last chicane. See what he's able to do this time around, as he will now go up towards the final corner and onto the pit straight. Then goes Antoine Hubert, and he now crosses the line and he goes up to 12, so an improvement for Hubert. He's just outside the top 10 in 12th place. Davidson doesn't improve, he stays 22nd. Aitken stays in 4th. Teammate Rossi has just started a lap. Eero Vainio crosses the line, doesn't improve, stays where he is at the moment, which is P21, so he's currently second to last in this session. Antonio Fuoco now there, just going around the final chicane, and let's see what Fuoco is able to do now. Then Fuoco crosses the line and no improvement, stays in 14th for the moment. Michele Aleshin crosses the line. Is this going to be an improvement? No, it's not. He doesn't improve, nor does Andretti, and nor does Di Grassi. Ferdinand Hasberg now then through the final corner, currently in 3rd place, 1/10 off the man sitting at the top, which is Sebastian Buemi. Hasberg, can he improve on his lap? No, he can't. Stays in 3rd for the moment, as Jenson Button's about to start another flying lap. Here comes Will Power with his new team, Eldorado, after spending a season with Pennzoil Grand Prix last season. Up towards the final corner will go Will Power, and let's see what Power is able to do now. As he heads down the pit straight and across the line he will go, and Power goes up to 10th, so he gets into the top 10. Does Will Power. Buemi doesn't improve, so there's a 1 minute 16.543, as now Hubert about to start a lap. Right on board Jack Aitken, who's now looking like he's being held up now by the shadow of Anthony Davidson, his fellow compatriot, and Aitken not happy about that. The British Korean driver now then, just going out of the final corner, and Aitken is going to cross the line. No improvement for him. He stays in 4th place. His teammate on the other hand improves to go up to 9th. So up to P9th goes Alexander Rossi. And after he just missed out on the IFMC IndyCar title back in February, as did Will Power, who's currently lying in 11th place. He just missed out on the title to Bourdais, and looking to see if he could try and get a title in this series if he can. In IFMC GP3, and hope to get redemption after just missing out last season. He was Felix's closest rival last season, but missed out as a result. Felix was just too dominant that season, and Felix went on to win the championship. And now Felix Rosenquist finds himself in GP2 with Red Bull Academy. Red Bull Academy, of course, formerly known as Robert Patrick Hunter Racing. They have now left GP3 and have moved to GP2 to become Red Bull Academy, and so far they're doing well in GP2. Button doesn't improve, stays in 7th place at the present moment in this session, as Rossi's doing another lap. 7/10 down in the second sector in the Willows racing car now then, as he head down through the chicane, as he will now approach the right-hander now then. Out the corner he goes now then, heading up towards the final chicane, as his teammate in front, Jack Aitken, will be going back into the pits. And of course they got rid of Alfonso Chelis Jr. to replace him with Jack Aitken after a disappointing season from Chelis, and Willows didn't want to be part of that anymore, so they released him. And now I've got Jack Aitken. Rossi doesn't improve, stays in 9th place. Fiat came out just about at the same time when Rossi went around the first corner there, so luckily Rossi was able to realise that he was there. In towards the last chicane then will go Nico Kari's. We have just over 37 minutes of this session remaining. Kari now then heading out of the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. And Kari crosses the line and goes up to 17th. So a slight improvement for the young Finn, who goes up to 17th place. Here is Felipe Nasr, who just goes around the chicane. He's preparing to start his next flying lap. And we're looking for if somebody else is on a flying lap. It doesn't appear like it at this stage. So we'll go to Felipe Nasr in the shadow. Nasr currently 18th. He's currently way down the field at the moment. His teammates currently occupying last place at the moment. That's not exactly where he wants to be at this stage. As going out the final corner goes Felipe Nasr, and let's see what he's able to do. Nasr now then approaching the first corner, and so through he will go now then, as he will now sweep the car through the right-hander, and let's see what his first sector is going to be like. And Nasr now then heading down towards the straight now then, and he's 600s down in the first sector. We'll see what his other sectors are like as Nasr just flicks the car through into the hairpin. And of course these cars are identical. There are no differences in the terms of cars. It's down to the talent of the driver to get the best out of the car. And on top of that as well, unlike GP2, these guys don't have a pit stop. They have 2 races, race 1 and race 2. Race 1 being 25% race distance, and race 2 being 20% race distance. As Nasr is 4/10 down in the second sector, as he goes up towards the right-hander. Nasr seeing if he can try and improve on the lap, as he just goes out the corner using as much curb on the outside as possible. Up towards the final chicane then goes Felipe Nasr, and let's see what the time is going to be then for the Brazilian. The final corner onto the pit straight we will go, and Nasr crosses the line, and he does not improve, and Nasr stays in 18th place for the moment, as we now look at Santino Ferrucci, who just approaches the final chicane. Let's see what Ferrucci is able to do now then. Out of the final corner and onto the pit straight will go Ferrucci, and across the line, and is this going to be an improvement? No, it's not. Ferrucci stays in 12th place for the moment. Hubert starting a lap. Here comes Daniel Kvyat in the Pennzoil Grand Prix car. Now a test drive for Bud Light Lime. Kvyat doesn't improve and stays in 19th for the moment. Still trying to get to grips with the GP3 car, it appears. App doesn't improve, nor does Newgarden, as Andretti in front of him. His fellow compatriot starts a lap. Here comes Lucas Di Grassi. Out of the final corner he will go, and across the line goes Lucas Di Grassi. Let's see what he's able to do, and he goes up to 7th with that lap. So up to P7 goes Lucas Di Grassi. And so here is Robert Kubica, who's currently 5th at the moment in the KR racing car. And Kubica now then heading down the pit straight, and across the line he will go. Is this going to be an improvement? It is, but he stays in 5th place. No improvement on position, but improvement on lap time. Kyle Kaiser then in the Horizon Motorsport car. Is this going to be an improvement then for the young American? It is. He goes up to 15th. The 2017 Indy Lights champion in real life. goes up to 15th place. Nick Heifeld started as not improved and stays in 6th place for the moment now then. As we now look at Antoine Hubert in the KR Racing car, his teammate Robert Kubica up in 5th place for the moment. Hubert down in 13th place at the moment, so just outside the top 10, trying to see if he can get up close to his more experienced teammate. Through towards the final chicane then goes Antoine Hubert. On the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Antoine Hubert, and let's see what the time is going to be then for the young Frenchman. Across the line he will go, no improvement, he stays in 13th place for the moment. As here is Marco Andretti in the Auto Jamaica car. Andretti crosses the line, no improvement, he stays in 14th for the moment and had to slow down because the Sawami Racing car was going out on the track there. Came out of pit lane. Newgarden doesn't improve, he stays in 2nd place for the moment, unable to beat Buemi at this stage. Michael Alation starting a lap. As we now look at Anthony Davidson, looking to see if he can get out that dreaded last place at the moment. Same with Vinio, both of them looking to be within under a second between themselves and Sebastian Buemi. As they now go through the right and left-hander. He's 6 tenths down in the 2nd sector. Could be for an improvement for the experienced Brit, but we will wait and see. Davidson grabbing a win last season in the Shadow, and looking to see if he can get more this season, but so far appears to struggle in this test. Davidson now then up towards the final chicane he will go, through the right, left, and then up towards the final corner he will go. Let's see what he's able to do then. Down the pit straight goes Anthony Davidson, and he will now cross the line, and he stays 17th with that lap. No improvement for him. As Aero Vinio about to start that. Andretti getting held up again by a Sawami. He's getting a little bit... Well, it wasn't a Sawami, was it? He was getting held up previously before, but I bet Marco's getting a little bit frustrated with this now. As Andretti crosses the line, and he stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 14. So that's that done for Andretti. Elation doesn't improve, he stays in 10th place for the moment. As we now look at Jack Aitken, who's about to start a lap, and but as is Ferdinand Hasberg, we look for somebody who's currently on a lap. That will be Aero Vinio, who is 2 tenths down in the 1st sector as he now approaches the hairpin, flicking the car in with that car now then as he heads down the hill through the right, and then left-hander he will go up towards the chicane. Goes Aero Vinio through the right, and then left-hander we will go and up towards the long hairpin before heading back up the track, back up the circuit towards the end of sector 2. And he's 8 tenths down in the 2nd sector, and it doesn't look like the young Finn is on for an improvement this time around as he just flicks the car through the chicane. Up towards the right-hander we will go. Vinio now then heading out of the corner, using as much curb on the left-hand side as possible as he will now approach the final chicane through the right, left, and then right-hander on the track. And Vinio now then out of the final corner and onto the pit straight goes the young Finn, and across the line he will go. And Vinio staying where he is at the present moment, which is P21, 1.012 seconds off current fastest man Sebastian Buemi. As Jack Aitken now then goes up towards the final corner, and let's see what Aitken's able to do. He's way off the pace. Looks like the AYP in front of him held him up as he stays in 4th with that lap there. Then Nico Kari starting a lap as he's currently 18th, as is Alexander Rossi and Sebastian Buemi. We now look at Ferdinand Hasberg, who's currently in 3rd at the moment in the Auto Jamaica, as he will now go up towards the chicane. And we got a yellow flag. It's down at turn 3, the first yellow flag of the day. Who is the culprit of the yellow flag? Is it for Wacko? Is it? It's Aitken. Aitken has gone off, and luckily for him, has he got any damage? No, he's very lucky. In fact, he just grazed the wall. So Aitken makes a mistake down at turn 3. And the yellow flag's out for the first time today. Aitken clearly pushing a bit hard on his second flying lap there, and it's definitely cost him. And he's got to be careful that car doesn't get beached at all in this instance, as we have just over half an hour left of this session. And Aitken, has he beached the car in any way, shape or form? He's trying to get the car moving as some more cars are going through that right-hander. Aitken able to keep the engine running. He's still able to get the car moving off the gravel. Is he able to rejoin? The yellows are still out. They keep on variating because Aitken was moving and then he stopped again, waiting for the traffic to clear off at the moment. That's how the GP4 physics work with AI. They wait for a clearing before they rejoin because otherwise it's classed as dangerous driving in their eyes. As Aitken now then managing to get the car going again, but that's definitely cost him a lot of time. I'm guessing this run now will just be a mileage run, I suppose, now, because his second lap has been ruined by going way too deep through in towards turn 3, probably carrying just that tad bit too much speed. Antonio Fawako, across the line he will go, and he stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 16, as Kari does not improve. He stays 18th place. Alexander Rossi crosses the line, stays in 10th, no improvement for him. As Nazar starts the lap, here comes the man at the top, Sebastian Buemi, who heads out of the final corner, and Buemi now then is going across the line. Is this going to be an improvement? It is by 1/10 of a second. Buemi improves to a 1 minute 16.388. He's now 2 tenths clear of Joseph Newgarden as a result. So Buemi clear at the top. His teammate just starts the lap, Nick Keifeld. As now we look at Danny Kvyat in the Pennzoil Grand Prix car. Kvyat crosses the line, and no improvement for him. He stays in 20th for the moment. Santina Felucci starts a lap. He's currently in 12th place for the moment. Jack Aitken just finishing off his mileage run after going off at turn 3, and his second lap wasted on this run, and no improvement as a result. 2 minutes 9.962. So a big mistake there from Jack Aitken. Here's Nico Kari now then. He just heads out of the right-hander. He will now approach the chicane, and let's see what Kari is able to do. As now they go up towards the final corner and onto the pit straight we will go, and Kari now then is about to power across the line, and no improvement for Kari. He stays in 18th place for the moment. As here comes Felipe Nasr, who heads out of the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go, and Nasr crosses the line. Is this going to be an improvement? It's not. Nasr stays in 19th for the moment. As here's Nick Keifeld, across the line he will go, and he stays in 6th place. No improvement for him. As now we try and get to Kyle Kaiser, who's just started a lap behind in the horizon. Santina Felucci, who's currently 12th for the moment, outpacing teammate Fawako, who's down in 16th place. The young American, the young Haas F1 driver in real life, comes down the pit straight, and Felucci is now going to cross the line, and no improvement for him. He stays in 12th place for the moment. We've got a yellow, and it's Jack Aitken again. Jack Aitken has gone off again, and it looks like he ran out of fuel. Mainly, possibly because of the spin, he didn't have enough fuel to get back as a result, and pretty much misjudged that. A bit of a rookie error there from Jack Aitken, and he pulls off. And, well, luckily for him, the pit lane isn't that far away, so they should be able to get that car towed back to the garages as quickly as possible. He's only got a few feet to walk before he gets to the pit lane, so no harm done there, I suppose, as he's just being hoisted over the barriers now. Apt, currently about to start a lap, but he's currently holding up Kubica now, so Kubica unable to improve. He's currently in 5th place for the moment as we head down the pit straight, and Kubica crosses the line. No improvement for him. He stays in 5th as a result of Apt holding him up in front. Here's Kyle Kaiser in the Horizon Motorsport car now then, as he heads out of the right-hander, using as much curb on the outside as possible. Down towards the final chicane he will go, and let's see what Kyle Kaiser is able to do then. Up towards the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go, and Kaiser now then goes across the line, and Kaiser does not improve, and he stays in 15th place for the moment. As we look at Hubert and Degrassi and Davidson, as here is Daniel Abt, who's just going through the chicane, running on board with the young German now. Then he just flicks the car through the left-hander, as he's got a bit of company behind in the form of Kubica, and he looks like an Auto Jamaica car is starting to close him up. 5 tenths down in the second sector is Apt. We will see if this is going to be an improvement. So far, the young German is currently down in 17th place, off the pace of teammate Lucas Degrassi. In fact, these two are actually teammates in real life in Formula E for Audi Abt Schaeffler. So that's that really. The team pretty much started up by Daniel Apt's dad, Christian Abt. But the team is now, because it's now backed by Audi, is now being ran by Alan McNish. Daniel Abt, meantime, crosses the line, stays in 17th. Kubica doesn't improve. And so that's that really. Marco Andretti does start a lap in the Auto Jamaica car, right behind as Elation starts a lap. As we look at Antoine Hubert in the KR Racing cars, we have just over 25 minutes remaining in this session. Hubert now then, just flicking the car through the left-hander now then. Let's see what his second sector is like. He's 2 tenths down in the second sector. Hubert looks to be on for a massive improvement in that car, but where it will get him to, I don't know. I think he should comfortably then, if he's able to keep this up, slot into the top 10. Maybe around about 7th or 8th he will go up to, but we will see. And it will push Rossi then outside the top 10 as a result. But let's see what Hubert is able to do on this lap. He's kept his composure. Round the final corner then goes the young Frenchman, and Hubert now then crosses the lines. It's going to be an improvement, and it is, but only up to 10th place. So he's lost a little bit of time, but Hubert gets himself into the top 10. Both KR Racing cars now in the top 10. Kubica 5th and Hubert in 10th. As Davidson doesn't improve, he stays in 22nd position for the moment. Ferdinand Hasberg is about to start a lap. Here comes his teammate Marco Andretti as he just heads out of the final corner now then, and Hasberg there had to jam on the brakes because somebody was coming out of pit lane there. Andretti crosses the line, stays in 14th place for the moment. As here is Michael Elation now then, who heads out of the final corner with his new helmet for this season after finding an IndyCar helmet of his. Elation crosses the line, does not improve, and stays in where is he at the moment? He stays in can't find his name actually. Elation stays in 12th. There he is. Will power start on the lap, as does Antonio Fuoco and Alexander Rossi behind. Jack Aitken back in the car, so they managed to get the car back in the garage and put a fresh set of fuel in there, and no mistakes on this lap. But let's see what the British Korean driver can do. And Aitken improves but stays in 4th place, unable to overtake Hasberg to get up into the top 3. Vinio stays in 2nd to last for the moment as Buemi about to start a lap. Here is Ferdinand Hasberg in the Auto Jamaica car as he flicks the car through the right-hander, and Hasberg, luckily for him, I don't think he's been headed by Buemi. There's a little bit of a few car lengths between himself and Buemi in front. Buemi about to start his next flying lap, of course. Around the final corner then goes Ferdinand Hasberg, and let's see what he's able to do. Then across the line he goes, and no improving. He stays in 3rd place. So it looked like Buemi must have held him up on his lap. His teammate improves to go up into 11th, but still just outside the top 10 at the present moment. Here is Will Power in the Dacia Eldorado Junior, and he's just going up towards the final corner on the track. Down the pit straight then goes Will Power, and let's see what the Australian is able to do. No improving. He stays in 7th place at the present moment. He's still 16th for Fuoco. Alexander Rossi stays where he is at the moment, which is P12. So that's where he remains. As here is Aero Vinio, who will now come up towards the final chicane, and let's see what Vinio is able to do. Round the right, left, and then up towards the final corner he will go. And now heading down the pit straight, and across the line then goes Aero Vinio, and no improvement for Vinio. He stays 21st for the moment. As we look at Jenson Button in the Pennzoil Grand Prix car, who's currently 9th, about to start a lap, as is Kari behind. Here's the man that's coming at the top, Sebastian Buemi, with a 1 minute 16.388. Is he looking at an improvement? So far 2 tenths clear of Joseph Newgarden, who's currently holding on to 2nd place in the Eldorado. Buemi now then around the final corner, and onto the pit straight goes the Swiss driver. And Buemi now then across the line he will go. Is this going to be an improvement? And no, it's not. It stays on 1 minute 16.388. Behind him, Ferdinand Hasberg doesn't improve, stays in 3rd place for the moment. Had to go around a little bit there around that corner in case he made contact with somebody coming out of the pit lane. Kvyat out on track, but he's currently holding up for Fuoco and Rossi, who are currently on flying laps at the moment. As for Fuoco now then heading through the section of corners, and let's see what Antonio Fuoco is able to do. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't improve because of the hold up of Kvyat in front. Kvyat now starting a lap. Fuoco doesn't improve, and I don't think Rossi did either. No, he didn't. He stays in 12th place as he got held up as well. Jenson Button with a big wiggle through that second part of the chicane there, luckily able to correct it. His experience paying off there as a result. The man who now in real life drives in the Super GT, who actually in the first race of the season, just yesterday, in fact, finished second in the race. So Button having a good debut in Super GT in real life, but in the IFMC land, let's see what he's able to do. Has that wiggle cost him a lot of time? And it has by 1.1 seconds. Button staying in 9th place for the moment. And Nico Kari doesn't improve, he stays in 18th place for the moment, as here comes Felipe Nasr, who just goes up towards the final corner, and he's going to start his next flying lap, as will Justin Newgarden. As Kvyat's now 2 tenths down in the second sector, so Kvyat in fact is looking on for a massive improvement. This should spare him up into the top 10, maybe around about 5th, 6th or 7th, or maybe even 8th place. So 5th to 8th I will expect Kvyat, if he's able to keep up with this lap now then, and even outpace teammate Jenson Button, so only put him on the cusp of the top 10. Danny Kvyat now then, across the line goes the Russian, and let's see, is this going to be an improvement? And it is, but only up to 15th. He lost a lot of time in that last sector, so only up to 15th place goes Daniel Kvyat in the Pennzoil Grand Prix car. As now we look at Felipe Nasr in the Shadow Racing, and behind him is Joseph Newgarden, who's currently on the lap. Newgarden hoping that Nasr in front doesn't hold him up, as now the Shadow just goes through the left-hander, Nasr through then round the right-hander, as we have just over 20 minutes left in the session, and Nasr 2 tenths down in the second sector, so he may look to be on an improvement, but it looked like there he had a little bit of a wiggle going into that chicane there, so that might cost him some time. It might put him into the top 10 as well, or maybe just outside of it. It might put him in 15th place or just behind Kvyat, but we'll wait and see on that, as now Nasr goes up towards the final corner, and onto the pit straight goes the young Brazilian, and Newgarden about to finish the lap. I won't be surprised if he doesn't improve. Nasr across the line, goes up to 16th, and we have a yellow, and that's down at the pit straight. In fact, it's happened down at turn 1, I must be said. Newgarden didn't improve, so who is the culprit down at turn 1? And let's see, who is the culprit? Is it Santino Ferrucci? And oh no, contact at the exit of the pit lane there. And, well, Ferrucci making contact. Couldn't quite tell who that was he made contact with at the exit of the pit lane. We'll try and see who that is. But Ferrucci has made contact with somebody at the exit of the pit lane. And it was Daniel App's American engineering car he clipped with. Ferrucci in the gravel. And now having to wait for a space. So that's the 3rd yellow flag of the day around here in Magny Cours. And there is Ferrucci trying to find a space in the traffic. He doesn't want to make another collision. As now has he been able to find a gap, and he gets the car turned around, and on his way he goes. So that's that. Kubica is starting a lap, and you better be careful that Ferrucci doesn't hold him up after his spin. Well, his contact with Daniel Abt at the exit of the pit lane there. So that's that. Meantime, Nick Kleifeld crosses the line. Let's see what he's able to do. He doesn't improve and stays in 6th place behind Robert Kubica, his former BMW Sauber teammate in real life. And now Antoine Hubert now then approaches the final chicane to start his next flying lap, as will Daniel Abt and Lucas de Grassi, his teammate. Newgarden going back into the pits. Here's Kyle Kaiser then in the Horizon Motorsport car. So with just over 18 minutes remaining in the session, here is what the leaderboard looks like then. It's Boemi top, Newgarden 2nd, with Hasberg 3rd, Aitken 4th, Kubica 5th, Heifeld 6th, Power 7th, with de Grassi 8th, Button 9th, Hubert 10th, Andretti 11th, Rossi 12th, Elation 13th, Ferrucci 14th, Kvyat 15th, Nasr 16th, Kaiser 17th, Fuoco 18th, Abt 19th, Kari 20th, Vinio 21st, and Davidson in 22nd position. As here comes Kyle Kaiser then, who approaches the final corner. And let's see how Kaiser is able to do now then. And Kyle Kaiser crosses the line, and he goes up to 10th. So Kaiser now gets himself into the top 10. He pushes Hubert down to 11th, so a big improvement there from the 2017 Indy Lights champion in real life. Ferrucci doesn't improve, obviously, because of his contact with Abt at the end of the pit lane. Kubica doesn't improve and stays in 5th place, like Ferrucci did hold him up there on his lap. Hubert now 3 tenths down in the second sector, looking to see if he can get back into the top 10, get back in front of Kyle Kaiser, as Hubert now then approaches the right-hander. And let's see what Antoine is able to do, as he uses the curb on the outside up towards the final chicane goes the young Frenchman. And Hubert now then round the final corner and onto the pit straight we will go. And Hubert crosses the line and he goes up to 8th. So a big improvement there for Hubert. He goes up to 8th place with that lap there. So a brilliant time from Antoine Hubert. As here comes Michael Elation to start a lap. So here comes Daniel Apt, who's just going through the final chicane. Up towards the final corner he will go. And Apt's now then heading down the pit straight. And across the line he will go. And Apt does not improve. He stays where he is for the moment, as Degrassi improves to go up into 8th place. So that's that really. As Vinio now then starting a lap, and so here comes Robert Kubica, who just comes out of the final corner, and let's see what Kubica is able to do. And he crosses the line, stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 5, and so that's that then really, as Aitken now then heads in towards the first corner. So here comes Marco Andretti. And let's see what Andretti is able to do. No improvement. He stays in 12th place for the moment. As Anthony Davidson is about to finish his lap in the Shadow Racing car. Davidson improves but stays in last place for the moment. Still in the dreaded last place is Anthony Davidson, the 2014 World Endurance Champion with Toyota in real life. Michael Elation now then out of the final chicane he will go, and let's see what Michael Elation is able to do. The Russian now then crossing the line, and he does not improve. Elation stays in 14th place for the moment, as here is Aero Vinio, who will now approach the final chicane, and let's see what he is able to do now then. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Vinio. And let's see, Vinio now then across the line, and he improves but stays in 21st position, unable to overhaul teammate Nico Kari, who's currently in 20th place, as Aitken is now being held up by Will Power, who's about to start his next flying lap. Aitken probably a bit frustrated being held up by the Australian, is now out of the final corner and onto the pit straight. Aitken crosses the line and does not improve. He stays in 4th place for the moment. Hasberg about to start a lap, as is Antonio Fuoco behind him at this stage, as Rossi's about to start a lap quite soon, as Andretti gets the checkered flag next to his name. So Andretti's session is slowly coming to a close, so that'll be the end of his session, as Power 800's down in the first sector, but Aitken, having other ideas, has now probably put Power off of maybe an improvement from 7th place, as now Power goes up towards the chicane. So as mentioned, Marco Andretti now done for the rest of the day, as he has the checkered flag next to his name. Through the left-hander then goes Will Power, using as much curb as possible on the outside, and his second sector 3 tenths down, and doesn't look to be on an improvement. Look like Aitken had affected that as a result, as they go through these section of corners now then on the track. Around the right-hander then goes Will Power, as he'll head up towards the last chicane on the track. And let's see what Buemi is able to do then. Sorry, Power able to do. Round the right, then the left, and up towards the final corner then he will go. And heading down the pit straight, and Power crosses the line, and he does not improve. He stays in 7th place for the moment. Aitken doesn't improve either. He stays 4th. As Ferdinand Hasberg stays in 3rd. No improvement for the Austrian. As Fuoco doesn't improve. He stays in 18th place in this session then, as Joseph Newgarden's about to start a lap, as is Nico Kari, Daniel Kvyat and teammate Jensen Button. Here comes Alexander Rossi in the Willows racing car, who just goes around the chicane. We've got a yellow, it's down at turn 3, so that's the 4th yellow flag of the day. Who is the culprit down at that corner? Is it Ferdinand Hasberg by any chance? No, it's not. Is it Fuoco? It is. Antonio Fuoco has made the same mistake as Jack Aitken, and unlike Aitken, he's had more severe consequences. He's now ripped a wheel off the chassis, so Fuoco has crashed, and he will have to go into the spare car if he wants to continue for the rest of the day. Rossi now then through the left, and then through the right hand he will go. Rossi now then, he's second sector 2 tenths down off Buemi. And is Rossi on for an improvement? We will wait and see what the 20 is it 2015? Yeah, the 20. Yeah. No, yeah. 2016 I think it was, a 2016 Indy 500 winner in real life can do. Rossi now then in towards the final chicane, round the final corner and onto the pit straight then goes Alexander Rossi, and he will now cross the line and he improves to go up to 6th place, up to P6 goes Alexander Rossi. Looks like Willows Racing finally seems to have a strong lineup after 2 seasons of struggle with their team. Nazar is about to start a lap. Buemi doesn't improve. He says on the 1 minute 16.388, and he's still at the top of the moment. Nobody's been able to challenge the Swiss driver for the moment in this session. Here comes Joseph Newgarden, his second sector. He's actually going quicker, so don't count my chickens yet. Newgarden looks like he's going faster than Buemi in the second sector. He's up by 600 of a second. Let's see if Newgarden is able to beat Buemi off the top of the timing sheets now then, as he heads out of the corner using as much curb on the left hand side as possible. Up towards the final chicane then goes Joseph Newgarden, and let's see what the American is able to do then. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Joseph Newgarden, and let's see what he's able to do then. Across the line he will go, and he doesn't improve. He lost time. In fact, he sets the same time as Buemi. He in fact sets the same time as Buemi. Buemi still in front because he set the time first. So Buemi and Newgarden setting identical times. Nazar, I believe, just improved. I believe it was Nazar. No, it wasn't. In fact, it was actually Kari, but he stays in 18th place. Kvyat doesn't improve. He stays 16th for the moment. And that's that really. So Ferrucci starting a lap behind. Button doesn't improve. He stays 11th. Still behind Antonio Bear, as Rossi stays in 6th place for the moment. As Felipe Nasr across the line stays 17th. And let's see if anybody else is out there. Well, Kubica is actually just started a lap at the present moment in this race. Is now Kyle Kaiser just heads out of the final corner. As well, if Newgarden was on another lap, he'd be up again in the second sector. But Newgarden now setting an identical time to Sebastian Buemi at the moment. So that's that for him, really. And a really identical time from Joseph Newgarden, as he will now approach the final chicane. And he's now into the pits. And anybody else on the lap? Yes, Nick Heifeld in the Kenny Star Motorsport car, currently in 7th place at this stage now then, as he heads out of the chicane, out of the right hand, I should say, up towards the bush-off chicane. Kari, meantime, has improved to go up to 16th. So, well, yeah, I think actually he goes up to 16th place at that lap, so an improvement there from the young Finn to get up into 16th place. There he is. But what about Nick Heifeld? Is he on for an improvement? No, stays 7th. Kvyat, meantime, stays in 17th place. Andretti's still the only man with the checkered flag next to his name. Ferrucci stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 15 at the moment in this session. Hubert about to start a lap here is his teammate Robert Kubica, who's currently in 5th place. Let's see if Kubica is able to improve. Rossi now gets the checkered flag next to his name, so his session has now come to a close. As Kubica goes up to 4th with that lap, so up to P4 goes Robert Kubica, so an improvement from the experienced Polish driver. As now we look at Kyle Kaiser now then in the Horizon Motorsport car. Kaiser crosses the line and he goes up to 11th, so up to P11 goes Kyle Kaiser, as Daniel Lap's about to start a lap, as his teammate Lucas Di Grassi, as Nico Kari going back into the pits. As we'll look at Antoine Hubert, who's 3 tenths down in the first sector, so it doesn't look like that Hubert is looking at any form of improvement in this session. Under 10 minutes of now remaining in this pre-season test for IFMC GP3 here at Magny Cours. And now Hubert just going around the left-hander now then, through the right, and let's see, his second sector 9 tenths down, as now Nico Kari gets the checkered flag next to his name, so his session has now come to a close. Hubert now then through the chicane, as he'll now flick the car through the right-hander, using as much curb on the outside as possible. Up towards the final chicane he will go, and let's see what Antoine Hubert is able to do. Into the final corner and onto the pit straight goes the young Frenchman. Hubert across the line now then, and he stays in P number 10 at the moment. He's in the cusp of the top 10 at this stage. Anthony Davison about to start up. Kyle Kaiser behind, going into the pits. Here comes Daniel Abt in the American engineering car. Through the final corner and onto the pit straight will go the young German, and Daniel Abt crosses the line and he stays where he is at the moment, which is P20. So that's the end of that for his lap for him. His teammate Degrassi doesn't improve. He stays 9th for the moment in this session. Michael Elation about to start a lap there then, as Aerovinio about to start a lap, as is Jack Aitken. As we look at Anthony Davidson, he's now 4 tenths down in the first sector. He's the next man doing a flying lap, and just going out of the corner, using a lot of the curb on the outside there as he heads down the hill towards the chicane. And let's see what Davidson is able to do then on this lap as he now approaches the left-hander. And Davidson now then flicking the car in, and his second sector, he is 9 tenths down that time around, so it doesn't look like the Shadow Driver is looking at an improvement at this stage as he heads down through the tricky second chicane before approaching the final 4 corners on the track. Through the long hairpin we go, and again using as much curb on the outside as possible before approaching the final chicane, flicking the car through the right, left, and in towards the final corner goes Anthony Davidson as he heads down the pit straight, and across the line goes Davidson as Hubert gets the checkered flag next to his name. Davidson doesn't improve and stays in 22nd, way off his best time at the moment. He stays in last place. Here is Michael Elation in the Horizon car, just over 7 minutes remaining now then in the session. Elation crosses the line and he stays in 14th for the moment. Elation struggling to get some pace in the car. Vinio about to finish his lap, and Power looking like he's going to get held up on his flying lap as Power is currently in 8th place. Vinio does not improve, way off the time. In fact, might have made a mistake somewhere, and he stays in 21st. Power stays where he is at this state. Well, about to start a lap, but it looks like he's going to get held up by the young Finn as Aitken now gets the checkered flag next to his name as he finishes off his final flying lap. He stays in 5th place with that lap. Hasberg starting lap, as is Jensen Button. Buemi is as well. We'll look at Antonio Fuoco now then, who just approaches the left-hander. See what he's able to do now then, as he will now go through the right and then through the left as he's 7 tenths down in the second sector now then, as he will now approach the chicane. Through the right and left he will go, and up towards the right-hander then will go Antonio Fuoco. He will now approach the final chicane on the track, and so now then through the right, left, and then up towards the final corner then goes Antonio Fuoco. Let's see what he's able to do then this time around. Down the pit straight and across the line then goes Fuoco, and is this an improvement? And it ain't. He stays in 17th, I believe. Sorry, not 17th, 19th. Newgarden starting a lap behind, and so Kvyat also starting one as well. So here's Will Power now released from Vinio, but how much time has he lost as a result from the young Finn as he heads down the pit straight. Davidson now gets the checkered flag next to his name, as does Aerovinio. They've finished their sessions. Power does not improve and stays in 8th place, and he gets the checkered flag now next to his name. So Nazar starts his lap. Hasberg on his final flying lap now as he gets the checkered flag next to his name, stayed in 3rd with that lap. Then Jensen Button stays in 12th with that lap. People starting to get checkered flags left, right, and centre next to their name. As Buemi doesn't improve, way off the pace there. Looked like he might have got held up. He stays on a 1 minute 16.388. Newgarden still setting an identical time to him, but Buemi still remaining top because he set the time first before Newgarden did. So that's that. And Newgarden now 1 tenth down in the second sector, so unable to improve in this instance as he now heads down through the chicane. And let's see what Newgarden is able to do this time around. Is he able to hook it back up in the last sector as he uses a lot of curb on the outside there. Up towards the final chicane then goes Joseph Newgarden, as he will now go up towards the final corner, and onto the pit straight then goes Joseph Newgarden, and across the line he will go, and he stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 2. And so that's that. Kvyat doesn't improve, stays 17th for the moment, as here is Felipe Nasr. Just under 4.5 minutes now remaining in this preseason test. We're getting close towards the end of preseason testing for IFMC GP3. Out of the final corner then goes Felipe Nasr as he heads down the pit straight, and across the line he will go, and he does not improve. Nasr stays where he is at the moment, which is P18, as Hasberg stays in third on his final flying lap there. Then Kubica and Kaiser and Abt about to start a lap. Here is Santina Ferrucci in the AYP racing car, and he is 8 tenths down that time around in the second sector, and not looking to be on the improvement because he's overall 8 tenths behind Buemi in this session. The young American now then approaching the final 4 corners on the track as he heads out of the corner, then using a lot of curb on the outside up towards the final chicane. Then goes Santina Ferrucci, and let's see what this lap is going to curtail for him now then. The final corner and onto the pit straight, then goes Santina Ferrucci, and across the line he will go, and he stays where he is at the present moment. Ferrucci staying in 15th as New Gun stays second. No improvement then for the 2017 IndyCar champion in real life. Nick Heifeld now then through the final chicane, and let's see what Heifeld is able to contend with now then. Heifeld is going to cross the line, and Heifeld stays in 7th. No improvement for Mr. Reliable after managing to break a record for the most races in a row, for most races finished in a row, which he was able to get from the end of 2007 till the end of 2009. So that's that. As now Lucas Di Grassi approaches the final corner and onto the pit straight. He will go, and Di Grassi starting a lap now then, as here comes Robert Kubica out of the final chicane. He will go around the final corner and onto the pit straight. Then goes Robert Kubica, and he now crosses the line, and he does not improve. He stays 4th, and he now gets the checkered flag against his name. Kaiser now gets the checkered flag against his name, stays in P number 11. Daniel Abt crosses the line, and no improvement for him. He stays where he is. Buemi now gets the checkered flag next to his name. Abt staying in 20th with that lap in the American engineering car. So his teammate Lucas Di Grassi is currently on a flying lap. Just over 2 minutes remaining now then in this preseason test as Di Grassi flicks the car through the first chicane now then. He will now approach the left-hander out the corner. Then he will go as he now swoops the car in, and he's now 6 tenths down in the second sector, approaching the last chicane, and he'll now the second chicane on the track, I should say. Round the right-hander then goes the Brazilian, and let's see what he's able to do as he will go through up towards the final chicane, and up towards the final corner then goes Di Grassi as he now goes down the pit straight, and he does not improve, stays in 9th place. Over 1 minute and 15 remaining. Kvyat about to start a lap as we now look at Jenson Button, Kvyat's teammate, 5 tenths down in the second sector. It doesn't look like that JB is on for an improvement at this stage, as we now have 1 minute remaining in this preseason test, as now going on to the last few seconds of this this preseason test now. Then Jenson Button now then round the final chicane up towards the final corner goes the Brit now then heading down the pit straight, and Button is now going to cross the line, and no improvement. He stays in 12th place with that lap. His teammate Danny Kvyat up towards the first chicane now then, flicking the car for the right and left-handers. Up towards the left-hander now then will go Daniel Kvyat, and as you can see now then, over 23 minutes 23 seconds to go, I should say, as 5 tenths down in the second sector goes Kvyat. Is he on for an improvement on his final flying lap? Let's see. Up towards the right hand he will go. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Checkered flag is out, and that is the end of the session. Kvyat now then rounds the final corner, and across the line goes the Russian, and he doesn't improve. He stays in 17th place, and that is that. Only the Pennzoils are now left on the track then. So yeah, I have it. That is the end of preseason testing for IFMC GP3 this season then. So after all of that, here is the results of preseason testing here in Magny Cours. Sebastian Buemi was fastest, with Joseph Newgarden tied for him in second, with Ferdinand Hasberg third, Robert Kubica fourth, Jack Aitken fifth, Alexander Rossi sixth, Nick Heifeld 10th, Will Power in 8th, Lucas de Grassi 9th, Anthony Bear in 10th, Kyle Kaiser 11th, with Jenson Button 12th, Marco Andretti 13th, Michele Alessi 14th, Santino Ferrucci 15th, with Nico Kari in 16th, Danny Kvyat 17th, Felipe Nasr in 18th, Antonio Fuoco 19th, Daniel Abt in 20th, with Eero Vainio in 21st, and Anthony Davidson in 22nd position. So we will wait for Kvyat to go back into the pit, and then we will wait for it to go back to the main menu screen. It will then go there, and then we will remind ourselves of the leaderboard, and we'll end this live stream there then. So what have you thought of this test, guys? Do you think it was productive? Do you not think it gives a true reflection of what the pecking order will look like going into Spain next weekend? Kvyat now back into the pit, and we now cut to the main menu screen there. So there you have it then, guys. That has been it for preseason testing for IFMC GP3. A reminder then of the leaderboard. It was Buemi fastest, with Newgarden second, Hasberg third, Kubica fourth, Aitken fifth, Rossi sixth, Heifeld 7th, Power 8th, de Grassi 9th, Hubert 10th, Kaiser 11th, with Button 12th, Andretti 13th, Alessi 14th, Ferrucci 15th, and then it was Kari 16th, Kvyat 17th, Nasr 18th, Fuoco 19th, Abt 20th, Vainio 21st, and Davidson in 22nd position. So there you have it then, guys. That has been it for pre-season testing for IFMC GP3 here in Magny Cours. I hope you enjoyed it. It has been quite a very good day indeed, and absolutely fantastic as well. But there you have it then, guys. That has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. We will see you then, guys, next weekend at the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya for the top class IFMC GP2 and the first weekend of action for IFMC GP3 this season. So a packed weekend next weekend, and should be a very exciting one as well here at Barcelona. A return to Barcelona after a season out. Hopefully it should provide an exciting race like it has done in the past. But there you have it then, guys. That has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1. Of course, we have the court hearing with Martini Motorsport about the Cashgate. Whether they're guilty or not, you'll find out during the week. The meeting takes place on Wednesday, and by the end of Wednesday we should have an official confirmation of what is going to happen. But anyway, guys, that has been it. I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1, and I will see you guys next weekend at the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, where all three categories will be taking part. A packed weekend, and should be exciting. Till then, take care.